everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to another episode of the Just Ballin podcast. Today, we're going to hit on a bunch of different things around the NBA landscape. I want to talk about the Nico Harrison firing that went down earlier today, kind of just bringing us to the end of the Luka Doncic trade back in February, what his kind of resume looked like and what he did and didn't do in Dallas, and kind of what's next for them going forward. I want to touch on some most improved player candidates this year. I think all four of the guys that I'm going to talk about will have a case, along with some others that I won't mention. Like, I'm not going to talk about Jalen Duren or Josh Giddey. Those guys are obviously going to be in the conversation. Denny of Diaz as well. None of these guys that I'm going to talk about are top 10 picks that could definitely be in the most improved conversation. Hopefully it's not Wemby this year, because that would just ruin the award. And then we'll talk about some early trade candidates. I have four guys that have been in All-Star games before, maybe all on All-NBA teams. And we're going to talk about them. Actually, it's going to be five guys. But yeah, there's a team that could be a sneaky blow-it-up team at the deadline that we're going to get to. So we're going to talk about Nico, most improved player, just kind of candidates earlier in the year, and then some early trade candidates as well. Like, the guys I'm going to talk about are some premier names. I'm not going to bring up like Keon Ellis, although could be a premier name. There'll be some other players on that team. All right, so Nico Harrison gets fired. He is no longer the general manager of the Dallas Mavericks. They lost to the Milwaukee Bucks on Monday night, and we kind of had a feeling that this was going to be it for Nico. There was a report that came out like early Monday or over the weekend. It seemed like Patrick Dumont was kind of getting to the end of the Nico Harrison tenure in Dallas. There was plenty of fire Nico Harrison chance. It didn't help that the Dallas Mavericks are off to a 3-8 start this year, while the LA Lakers are the opposite of that. They are 8-3 with Luka Doncic basically averaging, 37 points per game to start off the season. And I've talked about it a decent amount. I actually just hopped on like Bleacher Report to talk about it as well. And it's a shame because Nico Harrison, kind of killed the 2024 season in terms of making moves. Like, he signs Derrick Jones Jr. a little bit before that, who was a great piece around Luka Doncic. He trades away Grant Williams for PJ Washington at the 24 deadline, which was a very, very weak trade deadline, but he came out as a massive winner, getting PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford at the 2024 deadline. And then also the offseason prior to that, trading down, getting off the Davis Bertans contract to select Derek Lively, who had such a good connection with Luka Doncic and was exactly the rim-running, shot-blocking young big they needed to pair up with Luka going forward. I know they traded out of the Case and Wiles pick, but no, it made more sense to have Derek Lively on the Dallas Mavericks. So in that offseason alone and that trade deadline, adding Gafford, Derrick Jones Jr., PJ Washington, and Derek Lively were foundational pieces after just failing to make the play-in tournament in 2023 after you acquired Kyrie Irving at the deadline for 20 cents on the dollar. So now when Dallas goes to the NBA Finals in 2024, like I said in my Ross video, I do think, if you ask if Nico Harrison is a top 10 GM in the sport, it's a unanimous yes. He may even been a top 5 general manager in the sport at that time as well. You're talking about Mark Daigneault, you're talking about Brad Stevens. After the 24 season, you're talking about Tim Connolly of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Maybe, I don't know. I guess you would give Kevin Pritchard some love in Indy. Maybe you would give Leon Rose some love in New York. But Nico Harrison was right there, and probably more than those guys, given that they actually went to the finals in 2024, beating the Clippers, beating the Timberwolves, beating the OKC Thunder en route to losing to Boston, but really having a championship caliber roster in place. And that just was what makes it so dumbfounding that he traded away Luka Doncic in February. It was end of January, early February in 2025 when Luka was banged up. Kyrie was playing at a really high level, but obviously there was some injuries with Kyrie last year. And it wasn't just trading away Luka Doncic. I can go back to the 24 offseason, right? You acquire Klay Thompson, fine. It was a sign and trade. It really hasn't aged to the best that pickup, but hey, it's a small blemish. But trading away Quentin Grimes, that was just an unnecessary trade. And what's hilarious too is they actually gave up a second rounder in the Quentin Grimes trade. And then there was a bad medical of Caleb Martin. So they kind of nixed that deal. And we saw Mark Williams get traded to the Lakers and they nixed the deal because of a medical. My God, Quentin Grimes on this team, who knows, butterfly effect. Maybe they don't get Cooper Flag if Quentin Grimes is on this team. But still, it's just a terrible trade to look with hindsight. And you had such a successful 23 deadline to get Kyrie, 23 offseason to get Derrick Jones Jr., and the contract to get PJ Washington and Grant Williams and to get Derek Lively, and to make a trade with the Kings to basically absorb the Rashawn Holmes contract. You got a first rounder, you whiffed on Olivier Maxence Prosper, whatever, but then you were able to parlay that Richaun Holmes contract at the deadline for Daniel Gafford, who was such a great addition around Luka Doncic as well. It just sucks that we never got to see it play out in the playoffs. Like, obviously, they made that trade at the deadline to make the playoffs in the Western Conference in 2025 with Anthony Davis, with Kyrie Irving. Everybody got hurt. Caleb Martin was hurt. AD got hurt. Kyrie Irving tore his ACL. PJ Washington got hurt. Gafford, Lively, both banged up last year. They literally almost had to forfeit a game because they didn't have enough roster spots in the 2025 season. Like, I could look at guys that have played a game. Kyler Kelly played a game. Jazzy Gortman played a game. Markieff Morris played 7 games for them last year. Moses Brown played 4 games for this team. I'm pretty sure Kai Jones, played 12 games for this team last year as well. At least they got like an emerging Brandon Williams, but Kessler Edwards had to play 40 games for this team. And just like also not getting Austin Reeves in that Luka Doncic trade hurts a ton as well. It's just a what if. Like, what if he just called up like Kobe Altman to the Cavs and was like, would you do Evan Mobley for Luka Doncic? I'd rather have Evan Mobley than Anthony Davis moving forward. You called up the Houston Rockets. Would you have done Alperen Şengün for Luka Doncic? The Rockets would have said yes to that as well. And I'd rather have Alperen Şengün moving forward than Anthony Davis. There are so many other young big men in this league that they probably could have acquired that are even like, I know Şengün isn't AD defensively, but like you called up the Miami Heat and you said Bam Adebayo for Luka Doncic. They're saying yes to that. They're saying yes. And I'd rather have Bam, who's a little bit younger than AD, and I know he's hurt right now, but at least a little bit more reliable out there than Anthony Davis going forward. And I know AD was playing like at a premier level in the first half of 2025. It's just a shame. It's just a shame. And like, I don't know what would have been better. Like, say Dallas went to the Western Conference Finals last year. Would their fans even be happy still? Or would it feel like this isn't the team we wanted to root for? We wanted to root for Luka Doncic going forward. And it sucks like Nico gets fired without even like succeeding. Like, I kind of wanted to see him succeed and make it like semi worth it. Now this trade looks like it was the worst trade ever. Like you kind of feel bad. Like if you're Rob Pelinka, is it just like you just kind of like trade, you took advantage of somebody in your fantasy football league and you're like, and they don't even want to play fantasy anymore? It's like, damn, maybe I didn't want it to be that lopsided. So Nico Harrison is gone. Michael Finley, Mavericks legend. Matt Riccardi, I believe, is they're going to be like co-interim GMs. What's next for Dallas? I mean, this team is 3-8 this year. They're the worst Western Conference offense, or one of the worst offenses in the NBA. They're 29th in offensive rating. They have been good defensively this year, which is encouraging going forward. I don't know what they want. I don't know what would be their best direction. Like, hey, this is an elite defensive team this year. Cooper Flagg is going to get better game by game. The kid is still 18 years old. He's not going to be 19 till December. Do we think that when Kyrie comes back, we could be respectable, and we want to be respectable? I want to see what Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving could do in the playoffs. Or does this team realistically shop around Anthony Davis at the deadline? Now, one, you need Anthony Davis to come back and show that he could be healthy and effective again. He hasn't looked perfect out there to start off this year's season. He's also missing point guard play from Kyrie Irving. He's averaging just 20 and 10 through 5 games, currently nursing a calf injury. He's going to turn 33 in March. You're not getting a Luka Doncic type return, obviously. So you hope that you're getting, I can't even think what an AD trade will look like. We'll talk about more. He'll be my trade candidate part of this pod as well. But could they think about moving AD, given that Finley and Riccardi weren't the guys that like orchestrated the AD for Luka Doncic trade? Would they think about trading away a Najee Marshall, a Daniel Gafford this year? If the price is right, would they think about trading a Derek Lively? I think anybody should realistically be on the table outside of Cooper Flagg. You can't trade PJ Washington because he signed the extension too late in the offseason, but you got to be looking at 2027 onwards basically for this roster. It's too early to say the season is a wash. I get that. So I would say still think that this is a competitive team. They're 3-8 though, and it's not going to get much better until Kyrie gets back, in my opinion. So they're 3-8. They need to get better offensively. I don't know if they're like an early season trade team. Like, could they call up, I don't know. Like, could they get Keon Ellis? But Keon Ellis isn't like the type of point guard they need. Could they trade for Russell Westbrook? I don't know, right? Like, could you do some random trade? Maybe Russ would have helped this team more in hindsight than like D'Angelo Russell would have. So, hey, that's on Nico Harrison in the offseason as well. Jason Kidd just signed an extension. And right now you're prioritizing the development of, I guess, Max Christie and Derek Lively, but more so Cooper Flagg, because Klay Thompson has been just a negative player for them out there most of the season. Jaden Hardy's been a disappointment, in my opinion, and Caleb Martin has basically been unplayable for this team at times. So I guess we're going to have to figure out the next 20 or so games for Dallas. When does Kyrie come back? Is Anthony Davis going to just be an unreliable asset all year long? Because if so, I don't think you're going to get much for him at the deadline. Maybe in the offseason, if like a team really gets desperate after a disappointing 2026 playoff run. Like maybe something like that happens. I don't know though. We'll talk about more about Anthony Davis trades in the last part of the pod. So next up, I want to talk about guys that I think have just been having most improved caliber seasons this year. It's still very early. We're at 10% into the season, but shout out to Grayson Allen of the Phoenix Suns. Grayson Allen is definitely in talks to be a most improved player right now. Phoenix is off to a 6-5 start. Shout out to Jordan Ott. Shout out to Grayson Allen. This has been pretty much mostly without Jalen Green this year. And Grayson Allen just set the record for most three-pointers in a Suns game. He had 10 against the Pelicans on Monday night. He had 42 points, 4 assists, 10 of 15 from 3. I mean, Grayson Allen, if you remember, like it wasn't too long ago in 2024, was the best three-point shooter statistically in the NBA. He shot 46% on threes, led the NBA on 6 attempts a night. Last year, felt like Grayson took a step back because the volume was still there. 42% from 3 is elite for Grayson Allen, but he really wasn't shooting the ball as much as he was in 24. I mean, this year, he's shooting the ball more than he ever has in his career. He's 30 years old. I didn't love the extension when they gave it to him at the time, but thank God for him. He's turning it around. Now, there's a couple ways to look at this, right? Well, I don't want to go GMify everything here, but is this where you sell high on Grayson Allen? Because you asked somebody in the offseason, Grayson doesn't have much trade value, right? They were trying to maybe do Grayson for Jonathan Kuminga. This type of Grayson could maybe get you Jonathan Kuminga. But also the Suns don't have their first round pick, so they have no incentive to move Grayson Allen for anything that won't help them this year, in my opinion. This team does need a point guard still, but Grayson Allen has been one of the better storylines of somebody kind of like Norman Powell last year. He's in year number 7 or year number 8, actually. Year number 8, he's 30 years old. He turned 30 early in October, and he's just knocking down everything. And that is crucial for this team. He has been better around the rim as well, which is encouraging for the Phoenix Suns. Maybe this is Jordan Ott just getting the most out of Grayson Allen. Maybe this is just obviously addition by subtraction. KD's gone. Jalen Green hasn't played too much, and Bradley Beal is gone. Somebody was going to have to step up offensively, and that has been Grayson Allen this year for the Phoenix Suns. So he's somebody that I think is going to be in the most improved conversation, at this rate. If you look at his numbers last year, obviously the shots have gone up, so it's like a Kobe White effect, something like that, a Norman Powell effect, but he averaged 10.6 points per game last year, up to 18.6 points per game this year, 2.1 assists last year, 4.6 this year. Rebounds are slightly up, steals are slightly up, but he's almost doubling his shots, and the field goal percentage has gone up from 44 to 45%. He's gone slightly down on twos from 50% to 47%, but he's also taken double the amount of twos that he was taking last year. And he's taken about 9.5 threes this year, and the three-point percentage has actually gone up when he was taking about 5.5 threes last year as well. And Grayson Allen obviously has been used more as well for the team this year. Like I said, addition by subtraction. His usage rate this year is at a career high since his rookie year, 20.7% for the Phoenix Suns. And I definitely want to give Grayson Allen some props here in 2026. Don't know if it's going to teeter off or it's going to crater once Jalen Green is fully back into the fold, but you got to be happy so far if you're a Phoenix Sun fan. Jaime Jaquez, another player I was kind of out on. When you talk about these older prospects, he was older coming out of UCLA. They'll have a really productive rookie year, and you're this might be the best they're going to be in their career. And it presses you more in their rookie year because, hey, they're a rookie. You've never seen them play well in the NBA. So he's exceeding expectations because he was a 22-year-old rookie. And then last year, everything kind of goes down a little bit for Jaime in 2025. His two-point percentage dropped by 5% last year, which is his bread and butter. He's not much of a three-point shooter. He's never really been one. 32% as a rookie from 3, 31% as a sophomore. Even in college, outside of his sophomore year, he shot 31% from 3 as a freshman, 27% from 3 as a junior, and 31% from 3 as a senior. Outlier 39% from 3 as that sophomore season for the Bruins. But Jaquez has not been a good three-point shooter this year, and that's kind of been okay. He is shooting a whopping 63.5% on twos, 10.5 twos a night. He is averaging 17.5 points, more than doubled from last year, which was 8.5 a night. The assists have doubled as well. 2.5 assists last year, 5.2 this year. He has gelled perfectly in this new SPO system. And shout out to Erik Spoelstra, man. This guy has just revolutionized the Miami Heat again. He has always been the best coach in the league over the last 5 years, in my opinion. But I think this could be a coach of the year. And I'm pretty sure Erik Spoelstra has never won the coach of the year award. So that could definitely be in the cards for Spoelstra this year. And yeah, Jaquez shooting 57% from the field. He's averaging 7.5 rebounds a night. Another addition by subtraction thing. He's going to have a higher workload. Jimmy's in Golden State. Andrew Wiggins is here, yes, but Bam has missed some time. Hero has missed the whole season. Even Norman Powell missed some time as well. So Hawkins has had to step up for the Miami Heat going forward, and he's definitely taking advantage of that right now. So Hawkins has definitely been a beast for the Miami Heat, and he's somebody that could be in that most improved player conversation. He'll be 25 in, I believe, February, and he just looks more comfortable around the rim. Love watching him in transition, and this is definitely, I think, a cooler most improved guy. Like, Cade didn't win it last year, but if Cade did, I would have been pissed. Like, Dyson Daniels even winning it is a top 10 pick in year 3, which I don't like. I think it's too early. The year 3 thing has happened a lot. Like, it happened with John Morant. It happened with Tyrese Maxey. No, I think Maxey was in year 4, but like another most improved season we all expected to happen with Dyson Daniels going forward as well. Hawkins is also in year 3, so I get that, but I just think for somebody that was maybe an afterthought, you could have like thought basically from the 23 draft, he's really been exceeding expectations this year. I have Ryan Rollins as well in this conversation, a player I've talked about a ton this season. I think this is the definition of a most improved player, where he was good last year for the Milwaukee Bucks, and after they traded away Damian Lillard, they cut Damian Lillard, there was going to be an increase in point guard opportunities, right? They brought in Cole Anthony, Kevin Porter Jr. gets hurt, and they have Ryan Rollins, who I loved watching last year, and I thought this guy could be exactly what I think Keon Ellis could be in Sacramento, but they don't play him. But Ryan Rollins this year is playing about 15 more minutes a night, about from 15 to 30 this season. His shots is almost tripled per game, so it makes sense that his numbers are going to go up. But when you're watching somebody take 5 shots a night to 12 shots a night, and the field goal percentage goes from 48% to 51%, three-point percentage goes from 40 to 43%, and he's more than doubling his threes, and he's averaging 16.5 points per game this year, up from 6 last year, 5.5 assists. Like, this guy isn't just a shot chucker out there. He's actually getting his teammates involved, and he can draw so much attention with his downhill attacking. He is so goddamn quick with the ball in his hands, and he's still just 23 years old out there. He's averaging 2 steals a night. He's not just an offense. He's not like just a one-sided guy. He's a two-way player this year for the Milwaukee Bucks, and he shoots 80% from the free throw line as well. Ryan Rollins could be the key for the Bucks, even just keeping Giannis Antetokounmpo at the end of the day. Like, this is exactly what they needed when they weren't going to have Dame. They were like, all right, we're not going to have like a 25 point per game number 2 guy. We need everybody to step up in their own ways this year. And everybody kind of has, maybe outside of like Bobby Portis, but Miles Turner has done his job, maybe a little bit overpaid to like his production this year, but I think the Bucks are perfectly fine with it. Brook Lopez is gone. AJ Green has been good for them this year. Cole Anthony has had his moments. Obviously, Ryan Rollins has had his moments for this team. I think Kyle Kuzma in a scaled back role has looked better this year. Gary Trent Jr. has knocked down his threes this year, maybe a little bit inefficient around the rim. And this team is obviously headlined by an MVP candidate in Giannis Antetokounmpo. But Ryan Rollins, like, shoplifted from Target a couple years ago, gets waived by the Washington Wizards after being involved in the Chris Paul Jordan Poole trade back in July of 2023, so that can rope in like Bradley Beal into all this. And then he gets waived by the Wizards in February of 24. Milwaukee takes a flyer on him, and they've developed him perfectly. Something we haven't really said a lot in the past. This team cannot draft until further notice, until we're proven otherwise, but they've done a great job developing Ryan Rollins and AJ Green. And then my last most improved guy, it's tough because I do not think this award should ever go to a sophomore, but AJ Mitchell could be a freaking exception. Now, 6th man of the year might be more likely for AJ Mitchell this season, I would say, who has been, nobody saw this coming from AJ Mitchell. So I enjoyed watching AJ Mitchell at UC Santa Barbara. That's like my beloved 2024 draft class that I fell in love with, and it was so volatile where I just think like it made it so exciting. 6'5" guard, handle the ball well. I thought he was a good player at UCSB, but like, I don't know. Like, he was a really good player in a smaller, like a mid-major, smaller school. Competition is nowhere near what you're going to play at the NBA level. He gets drafted 38th overall in the 24 draft. I'd have to look back on my big board rankings. I think I had him in around that range. And this was actually a Knicks pick that the Knicks used to eventually go get, I think, Kevin McCullough. I don't think this is even the Tyler Kolek pick, if I'm being honest with you. So he was drafted by the drafted by the Knicks. Knicks traded this for Oso Ighodaro, who then they later moved as well. But AJ Mitchell this year, like, also maybe definition most improved. So his minutes have gone up, shots have gone up, makes sense. J-Dub has barely played, or J-Dub hasn't played. Isaiah Joe missed time, Caruso, Casey Wallace. A lot of guys have missed time this year, Chet. as well for the OKC Thunder. 6.5 points per game last year. And he played in the finals like in a weak draft. The fact that Mitchell looked also pretty good before the toe injury last year, because he only played 36 games, like 6.5 points, you take that from like your sixth best guard on an already loaded Thunder team. He's averaging 17 points this year. 17 coming off the bench mainly, 46 from the field, 35 from three, 93% from the line on 4 attempts a game. Now, that is going to go back down when J-Dub is back, but holy crap, AJ Mitchell, he is so good in transition, getting downhill as well, finishing around the rim with contact. He's averaging about 4 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 steals. I love the defense. And oh yeah, Sam Presti got him an absolute bargain of a contract. $3 million this year, $2.8 million next year, $2.8 million team option in 2028. This is how you avoid the second apron as a elite team in the NBA, because you could draft guys like AJ Mitchell. So those are just 4 most improved candidates that I wanted to highlight. Grayson Allen of the Suns, Jaime Jaquez of the Heat, Ryan Rollins of the Bucks, and AJ Mitchell of the OKC Thunder. Yeah, there's plenty of other guys that you could bring up as well. Would love to know maybe some most improved guys that you think that I should have talked about. You can let me know on Twitter, YouTube comments, all that stuff. Now let's get into the trade candidates. And lastly, I wanted to talk about, trade candidates early trade candidates that are big names that could maybe be brought up towards the season. I actually might add somebody later to this as well, because I wanted to talk about like guys that have made all-star games in their career. So the first one we could just get out of the way is Anthony Davis of the Dallas Mavericks. He would be a very perplexing trade piece this year at the deadline. So he is 3-8, the Mavericks are 3-8 this year. Anthony Davis already dealing with a calf injury right now. I don't know if he might be officially off the injury report, because I'm not seeing his name right now, but he's missed a little bit of time lately for the Dallas Mavericks. He hasn't played since October 29th for them. So, Anthony Davis headlined the Luka Doncic trade. The GM that traded for Anthony Davis is no longer in charge. He just got fired, Nico Harrison. Anthony Davis also, if I look at his contract here, he has 2 years left, fully guaranteed this year and next year. $62 million player option in 2028. Who the hell knows, right? Because you would think he can get more guaranteed money if he opted out, but who knows how his injury and history is going to hold up and his body's going to hold up till then. So yes, he could be a free agent in 2027, but you get him for 2 more playoff runs. His value is definitely taken a hit since when the Mavericks traded for him. His numbers with the Lakers in 2025 in 42 games, 52% from the field, 25 points, 12 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 2.1 blocks, 1.3 steals, was going to make an all-defensive team, in my opinion. Probably an all-NBA team as well, but he only ended up playing 51 games last year. He's already been hurt this year, got hurt last year. That's the thing. Like, one of his nicknames is literally Street Clothes, which is obviously terrible, and you don't want him, but that's why Anthony Davis has never reached the apex of his career that we thought he could hit, because of injuries. So it's a big risk to trade Anthony Davis or trade for Anthony Davis, but I could definitely see the appeal in it. He would definitely get you something, but you gotta see him healthy before the deadline. Hopefully he's back soon. Hopefully he can just not be hurt again this year. Maybe they're gonna hold him out on back-to-backs. We're seeing that with Embiid and the Sixers. Maybe the Mavericks are like, we want you to be as healthy as you can, because maybe we're going to trade you this year at the deadline. I think there's some fascinating teams at the top of the Eastern Conference that could at least call the Dallas Mavericks. Just call. I don't know what would transpire, but I would think Detroit, just to call. You're 9-2, top of the Eastern Conference. If you can get AD as a co-star next to Cade, it's interesting. I wish we got a little bit more of a sample size of AD next to Gafford and Lively, because you're not moving Duran for AD, but it's something to think about. Jaden Ivey. Why do I think Jaden Ivey's from Dallas? I think I'm wrong there, but I'm going to look that up. He's from Indiana, or he's from, I believe, Indiana. So I am dead wrong on that. I don't know who I'm thinking of, but it's something, right? Jaden Ivey could be brought up a bunch in these trade ideas going forward, but I think Detroit could call, see how that looks going forward, and look to acquire Anthony Davis, maybe Blake Griffin 2.0, hopefully better than that. I think Miami can call as well. Miami is a very interesting team. I don't know if they would want to be super aggressive this year, right? Because would they dangle a Tyler Hero? It's very hard to get to Anthony Davis's money unless, because you can't trade Terry Rozier. I don't think you can right now, because that's $26 million that limits you. Hero is under contract for 2 more years. Hero would actually be a really great fit next to Cooper Flagg. Just an idea, just throwing it out there. Don't even know if Miami would want to even think about that. I'm just saying, if Miami's like, okay, this could be it. Like, we could win the Eastern Conference this year. We want to have AD and Bam in the front court. Possibly. I don't know, right? It's just an idea out there. Milwaukee would be fascinating. I don't know if, like, I would trade Miles Turner for Anthony Davis, especially if you're trying to keep Giannis happy. I mean, like, thinking about a Bucks idea is kind of fascinating in a way. Because, yeah, like, if I'm trying to win in this Giannis window, I'm trading. Like, I want to trade Miles Turner for Anthony Davis, but then you're like, AD, or can AD space the floor as well as Turner? I don't know. And maybe not as reliable. You definitely have some tradable contracts, right? Like, you have Kuzma's $22 million. You have Bobby Portis' $13 million. You would have to sacrifice any type of swap you can give because you're not moving Ryan Rollins or like AJ Green in that trade either. So they're an idea for Milwaukee. People will throw out Chicago. I believe Anthony Davis is from Chicago, and they're a team that has exceeded expectations this year. It would be very silly to do something like that for Chicago because I think they're a little bit fool's gold. They're coming back down to earth a little bit. They're about 18th in net rating. They haven't played good defense at all as of late, and Giddey has an ankle injury right now. But yeah, I believe Anthony Davis is from Chicago. I do want to double check that he is. So, hey, would be cool, but I think we're too early for Chicago to do something like that. I'm going through some of these Eastern Conference teams, right? Like Philly, no. Paul George and Dallas. Atlanta, probably not, right? Toronto, no. Boston, no. Orlando, no. So I would say Detroit, Miami, Milwaukee probably make the most sense in the East. The West, like Wemby and AD, it's intriguing as an idea. I don't know. It's just like, do you want to even take the risk? Like Detroit and like San Antonio were so good this year without AD. Do you want to trade 3 rotational guys for him? I'm intrigued about the Minnesota Timberwolves. Like I am. Like Rudy Gobert can get you there. Randall is from Dallas, I believe. I'm trying to just throw off all those connections, but Randall is from Dallas. So you could do Randall, Reed, one of those guys, right? Could headline a trade. I don't know if it would cost you Jaden McDaniels, but I do feel like they could look for a different big going forward. Maybe Minnesota wants to get a guard. Houston, no. Lakers would be funny, right? But they're not trading Reeves for AD. Oh my God. The fact that that's even, I don't know. Maybe they would. I don't know. That's hurting my brain a little bit. Sacramento could be desperate. Portland, intriguing. Phoenix wouldn't shock me. And the Clippers would be kind of hilarious just because they're old as hell right now. So AD is somebody that I think will be brought up. Ja Morant is another guy as well. Ja Morant, obviously, I don't need to do the whole spiel this year of like what's going on with him and Memphis, but he does not look like the same player whatsoever. Ja Morant this year is shooting 44% on twos. Yeah, 44% on twos, 35% from the field, 14% from 3. Doesn't look like he has the same athleticism he did a couple years ago. Ja's obviously gone suspended by the Memphis Grizzlies for a game this year. You would think you're selling him at a low point. He's under contract for 3 more years. And he's obviously the heart and soul of the Memphis Grizzlies. They're not a big market team. So it'd probably take a little bit to go out and get Ja Morant if you were going to actually trade for him at any point this year. He's 26 years old. There's some risks to that. A non-shooting point guard, is that something you want to give up assets for? As I'm going through these teams again, like, Miami, would they think they could turn around Ja? They've turned around a lot of guys in the past, so that could be a possibility. You could talk about I'm going through some of these teams like Toronto. Would they think about that? They already have floor spacing issues. I don't know if they would. Atlanta, just Trae Young for Ja Morant. Now we're just getting crazy with it. Chicago doesn't make a lot of sense with the way Giddey's playing going forward. I don't think like the Cavs, would do Garland for Ja or anything like that. Spurs, they got their point guard. Denver, no. Like, I'm going through these teams. I don't even think Houston, who probably could use a point guard, would want Ja Morant. Phoenix would be a team to keep an eye on. They're a team that think they're better than they are, and they would give up maybe any type of asset they can for Ja Morant. Pelicans or Kings could get desperate as well. I don't think Utah or Washington would want to speed their process up for Ja or Trae Young, who I will talk about right now. Trae Young is out right now for still about a couple more weeks with the ACL injury. Atlanta's been winning some games without Trae Young. I wonder if that was going to be something the front office could look at and be like, we can be just fine without Trae Young. Let's get assets for him instead of giving him $60 million in the offseason. Ansi Salah, the head decision maker, did not draft Trae Young. He wasn't there. I don't think Landry Fields drafted Trae Young either, but he was obviously there throughout Trae Young's development, and Fields got let go in the offseason. Trae Young would be a guy to keep an eye on. He could be a free agent this upcoming summer, so there's a little bit of risk to that, kind of like a Pascal Siakam trade from a couple years ago. I think Trae Young is another player where he's a little bit more valuable to his current team than what a team would think trading assets for him in a deal. The same teams I said about Ja could be in play for Trae Young. I should have brought up Minnesota as well. Could be involved in that. My sneaky team, though, it's tough because it's in division. Like, what if, like, who says no in these deals? I would love to know, like, the public perception. Memphis gets the call. This one, it's tough. LaMelo Ball for Ja Morant, right? Like, I don't even know. Both teams maybe say no. And then Atlanta gets a call, LaMelo Ball for Trae Young. For Charlotte, you're just wanting somebody that's more reliable than Trae Young. Than LaMelo Ball, because LaMelo Ball has these ankle issues, which could also just deplete his value in any type of trade. But he's also under contract for a couple more years. He's under contract for 4 more years, including this year, which Atlanta could be like, all right, we like LaMelo at $37 million, then Trae Young at $62 million. We would make that trade. He's 24 years old. It's in division. An idea. I don't hate it, actually. I don't hate it. And then like Ja Morant for LaMelo Ball, just change of scenery, maybe. Probably not. Maybe the Trae Young one I could think about, but you just really hope that LaMelo's ankles just magically become okay when he steps foot in Atlanta. I don't know if that's the city for him. I had 2 names down for the Sacramento Kings who are rumored to potentially be a seller this year. I mean, it makes sense. Sacramento's off to a bad start this year. They are 3-7. They play Denver tonight, so definitely could be 3-8. They can't play any defense right now, and I don't even think that's going to get much better when Keegan Murray comes back, who is probably their best defender because they're playing Russ, Monk, Sabonis, LaVine, DeRozan, all these guys, so many minutes who are offensive first guys. So LaVine, I actually think would have more value than Domantas Sabonis, because if you're trading for Sabonis, you're trading for kind of a limited center defensively and as a floor spacer. So you're kind of like changing your offensive identity around Domantas Sabonis, which hasn't really had a high ceiling in this league, not in Indiana, not in Sacramento, who's owed 42 this year, 45 million next year, 48 million in 2028. So now he's guaranteed 3 more years. I mean, if it's going to be like not a lot to get him, I could see like if you're going to try to like revive his career in a different way, right? If you think you can unlock something in Sabonis's game, sure. LaVine intrigues me a little bit more, because I think he's like a really good second or tertiary scorer for a playoff team. He's been very efficient this year. He's not a number 1, but if you're bringing him in as like a 2, like a mid 2, high end 3 option, I like that a lot. 47 mil this year. He could opt out 48 mil at the end of the year, which I think actually could happen. Like, would Zach LaVine opt into 48.9? He's not getting that on a per year basis. But could Zach LaVine sign like a 5-year 125 in the offseason? Yeah, and get 125 guaranteed. He'll be 31 in March. Maybe signs a 4-year deal, because he can't sign a 5-year deal with anybody outside of Sacramento. So possibly, I could see Zach LaVine opting out. I don't know if he's trying to win. LaVine has played in 1 playoff series in his career, I believe, and that's 2022 for the Bulls, yeah, in which they lost by 5 to Milwaukee. So LaVine and Sabonis, I wanted to give shouts to. And the last guy is Lauri Markkanen. So the Jazz were never going to really try to compete this year, but once Walker Kessler went down, the odds of that are just kind of thrown out the window. They've been competitive this year. They are 3-7 though, so that's competitive for Utah. So Lauri Markkanen is kind of revived his value. It's like a seesaw with him, right? Has so much value at the end of 2024. They don't trade him when there was like a Warriors offer on the table. They extend him, and then they can't trade him because they extended him so late in the 24 offseason, so they can't move him in 25. He doesn't play as well as he did in 23 or 24, so no team is wanting to take anything of this contract in the offseason. And now he has a strong Eurobasket, and he's been playing well this year for the Utah Jazz, where he's been averaging basically 30 points a game. I think a team could be interested in Lauri Markkanen this year. He's averaging in about 35 minutes a night, 27.5 points, 6 rebounds, 45, 35, 88 splits. I think it could be like back and forth. Would you rather trade for Lauri Markkanen, or would you rather trade for like Zach LaVine? I think those guys could be interesting pieces as well. I guess talking about ideas for both those teams, or for like LaVine and Sabonis, like Detroit, I think will be brought up a lot if you're looking for an offensive co-creator next to Cade Cunningham. Milwaukee, Miami, like those teams could be brought up as well. I don't know how aggressive Chicago wants to get. I don't think Philly or Toronto are going to try to get aggressive. Orlando's got their core locked in. Indiana is tanking really at this point. Markkanen, his contract's a little bit more risky. 46 this year, 46 next year, 49 in 2028, and then 53 million in 2029 when he's going to be roughly 32 years old. Markkanen, to my knowledge, has never played in a playoff series, so we have no idea how he would look there. But if a team thinks that we can get a little bit younger, lock him into 48 million rather than paying somebody 60 million in the offseason, like one of their guys internally, could make sense going forward. Maybe there's a 3-team trade where like AD goes somewhere, market into Dallas. I don't know. I think there could be some creative trades happening this year at the deadline. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Just Ballin podcast. If you did, I'd appreciate you leaving a like on YouTube, hit that follow and rating, or just leave a review button on Apple Podcasts and Spotify to help the audio version grow as well. If there's any ideas you guys like to for me to talk about, let me know on YouTube. Let me know on in the YouTube comments or Twitter over there as well. Thank you all for watching and listening. Hopefully we have a good NBA slate tonight. I definitely want to do a little bit more draft content coming up as well, or just like college content. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.